election. I wrote an article on that. I talked about it on this show. That this by-election had nothing to do with La Carboniere. It had to do with Kenny Anthony and the monster he created. Yeah, the monster that became the magnet for the elements was created by Kenny Anthony. Before that, Richard Frederick was just Richard Frederick running for elections. Whatever there was to be known about him, I think was well known. Kenny Anthony created a monster. And that monster spread wings and legs all over the place because a lot of people related to the monster's circumstances against Kenny Anthony. If Kenny Anthony had had something on Richard Frederick, and the moment Richard Frederick has put his foot in that arena, had come out with it, St. Lucia would have said, thank you. Because you can't have people, you know, with the kind of background that Kenny Anthony was painting and to let them into politics. I remember asking Richard Frederick those questions. And I also said that if on camera, that if Kenny Anthony really knew anything about Richard Frederick that was provable, because otherwise, keep quiet, because Kenny Anthony sued a lot of people for saying things that he said were not provable. If Kenny Anthony had something on Richard Frederick, he owed it to the country to stop Richard Frederick in his tracks before he even stepped into the arena. I said that. Challenged him. But now you hear all the noise. Anyway, you will remember that Kenny Anthony was asking, you know, he's going to investigate why the Labour Party people in Central or wherever, Central, did not come out to vote. And you might remember my famous remark. Prime Minister, you want to know why? They don't like you anymore. That's why. I don't like you anymore, Mr. Prime Minister, as my Prime Minister. I don't like you anymore as my Prime Minister. And I added, on a second show, because it was being twisted, I hate Kenny Anthony. I don't hate Kenny Anthony. I elaborated it on another show. And I said I didn't hate the man. I said I had nothing personal with him at all. Personal is another story. But as far as Prime Minister, I didn't like you as my Prime Minister anymore. And if you wanted me to like you again as my Prime Minister, go back to the time I liked you, which was 1997, early 1997. Go back to that, and I'll like you all over again. I mean, all the crap that went down, etc., etc. But as I say, the moment the Richard Frederick thing started coming in, I knew it was over. And I was sitting there, and running through my mind was the movie, you know. There was so much riding on Kenny Anthony. Kenny Anthony is not the rest of the guys. Philip Pierre, fine, those guys were boosters. They were there. But we were all riding on the promise of Kenny Anthony. While I was watching the movie of that famous Sea of Red in Vieux-Fort in 97 flash before my eyes, I saw all of that. And I thought, what a waste. What a waste. Because I began to see in my mind Philip Pierre. Whatever you want to say about Philip Pierre, I think Philip Pierre was a damn good minister. I think a lot of people loved Philip Pierre. I thought Philip Pierre was wimpy because I thought Philip Pierre should have challenged Kenny Anthony at a certain point. Challenged him. He did not. I'm going to say later on tonight, I hope he challenges him now. And I think the country will be behind Philip Pierre if he puts a challenge out. But of course, Philip Pierre has got to find the gonads to do that. Okay? I thought about Damien Greaves before the results were coming. A nice guy, a good heart. And I said before, in the preceding years, I even said that Damien was a wonderful guy, good guy, he meant well, etc., etc. But what good is all of that when you don't have balls? Again, subservient in every way to Kenny Anthony. Mario Michel had the balls. But Mario Michel was concerned about party. And Mario Michel didn't want to do or say anything that might upset the party. I don't understand that, but that's Mario Michel, and I respect it. I've had my disagreements with the man. I respect his principle. It's not the first time that Mario Michel decided he was pulling away, you know. He pulled out one time before, earlier than that. That's Mario Michel, and I'm not making any noise about that. But Mario Michel was not tolerating any of Kenny Anthony's nonsense.